Zout is an American metalcore band from Parkersburg, West Virginia. Founded in March 1993, Zout has hosted several musicians and endured numerous roster changes to the point where no original members remain. Former drummer Jesse Smith, singer Dan Weyandt, and guitarists Scott Mellinger and Russ Cogdell are seen by some fans as the core of Zout, with the current lineup being the longest running in the band's history. For a time, the band featured Christian themes in their music and was regarded as a Christian band. However, this theme was eventually met with debate among the members, and the band currently no longer considers themselves a Christian band, with only bassist Martin Lunn identifying as a Christian. To date, Zout has released 11 full-length albums, 9 EPs, or splits, a 2-disc DVD documentary, and embarked on numerous concert tours, garnering a limited but global fan base and earning critical praise. In the process, the founding members of Zout were vocalist Eric Reeder, guitarist Roy Doughty, bassist Mike Cox, and drummer Jesse Smith. The band's name comes from the Greek word zeta omega, which means alive or to have life. Zout vocalist Eric Reeder has been credited with coming up with the band's name. Calling their sound Christ-centered hardcore, they sought to reach an audience that they felt has been pushed away from the organized church. Most of their early songs, which appeared on their first 2 full-length albums, All Else Failed and The Splinter Shards, The Birth of Separation, which saw the band re-recording much of the All Else Failed material, contained explicit references to God and centered on the theme of the peace of God. Reeder, who appeared on Zout's Author and Sustained demos, as well as a split with Outkast, left before Zout recorded All Else Failed and was replaced by Sean Jonas, who went on to form Symphony in Peril. Jonas left the band after recording 2 albums and is now a youth pastor at New Life Church in West Virginia. Original bassist Mike Cox left the band, and Kevin Moran took his place. Ron Gray also joined the band as a second guitarist after the recording of The Splinter Shards, The Birth of Separation. All of the band members, except for drummer Jesse Smith, quit Zout following the 1997 Cornerstone Festival and a couple of shows they played on the way back home. In 1998, Smith recruited Brett Dietar, guitarist of Pennsylvania emicore band Pensive, to help him build a new incarnation of Zout. Dietar suggested a pair of his friends, guitarist Russ Cogdell and enigmatic writer/poet, and future tattoo artist, Dan Weyandt. Both Cogdell and Weyandt had played in Christian hardcore band Seasons in the Field, who had released a split EP with Pensive. Smith would drive several hours to Greensburg, where all these new members lived, to co-write and rehearse what would become the first, and in many ways, defining, album from the new Zout, Where Blood and Fire Bring Rest. The group played fewer and fewer songs from the old version of the band as Blood and Fire took hold. They toured without a bassist and set stages ablaze with their raw emotion and Weyandt's personal storytelling, which detailed the hardships that informed their songs. With a rockabilly look and Smith's oddly engaging habit of setting up his drums facing away from the audience, their live reputation grew large in the underground. Not long after recording their half of a split EP with label mates training for Utopia in California, Dietar left the group in 1999 to focus his energy on his rock side project, The Juliana Theory, who would sign to Sony and have a successful career before disbanding in 2006. Scott Mellinger, formerly of Creation is Crucifixion, joined the band on lead guitar, and Rob Horner came in on bass, before the recording of another landmark metalcore album, Liberate Ex Inferis, Latin for Save Yourself. From Hell, a line from the movie Event Horizon. Cogdell left the band in 2000 to go to film school. Mellinger, Horner, and Smith wrote and recorded all of the music for Zout's 5th album titled Self-Titled, with Dan coming by for a few days to contribute his lyrics and vocals. The album is notable for Smith's dark pop interludes, the V-drum sound in the song 5-Year Winter, which remains a signature Zout song. Corey Darst replaced Weyandt for the majority of the touring in support of the album, with Horner returning, and second guitarist Matt Oxier joining up. Darst never appeared on a Zout album, although this version of the group, Darst, Smith, Mellinger, and Horner, did cut a 3-song demo during a Seattle tour stop. The group talked about signing with either Sanctuary or Century Media Records, but Zout broke up on stage at a December 2001 show in Pittsburgh, later documented on their DVD. They were to embark on a tour with the Juliana Theory, and Weyandt had joined Darst on stage as a special guest, but an incapacitated Jesse Smith couldn't make it through the show and long brewing tensions boiled over. Solid State/Tooth and Nail funded the next Zout projects, a brand new album that featured just Smith, Mellinger, and Weyandt. Horner did not return, called Parade of Chaos, as well as a re-recording of the original Zout's All Else Failed played by the same trio. In the documentary The Lesser Lights of Heaven, the band disavowed the re-recording, admitting they did it because they were broke and needed to fulfill their record contract with Solid State. Weyandt, Mellinger, Smith, and a returning Cogdell set out on the Burn It Down and Walk Away tour, billed as Zau's final tour, with support from special guests Under Oath, Unearthed, Dead Poetic, and The Underwater. Although technically a tour in support of Parade of Chaos as well, no songs from the album were featured in the setlist. After the 2002 tour, the group's members focused on other projects, most notably Cogdell and Mellinger's more rock-oriented Jade Meridian and Horner's 2-year stint with the Wheeling, West Virginia sci-fi metal band The Minus Tide. Living Sacrifice drummer Lance Garvin filled in for Smith when the rest of the guys could not find him for a couple of 2003 festival dates. However, the Liberate-era lineup reconvened in Greensburg around the promise of a new record label that offered to fund a new Zau album. The label ended up falling apart before a note of music was ever recorded, prompting Smith to reach out to Ferret Music, who agreed to sign the band to a 2-album deal. After cutting some new demos, Weyandt left the group. Society's finest singer Joshua Ashworth was asked by Smith to join the group. This version of Zau did a few shows and recorded a couple of songs. However, by the end of 2003, Cogdell and Mellinger realized they did not want to make a Zau record without Dan on vocals. Smith and Horner quit Zau and joined up with former bassist Kevin Moran to focus on their new band, Gods. Ashworth stepped aside. With Weyandt back on board, the remaining 3 core members recruited the rhythm section from Jade Meridian, bass player Sean Koscheck, drummer Stephen Peck, to round out the Zau lineup. At this time the band started to write their 7th album. In 2004 Zau released The Funeral of God, a concept album that imagined a world where God had chosen to abandon mankind. Ferret heavily advertised the album. The group made their first music video, For the Rising End, and went on several tours of the US, resulting in the biggest-selling Zau album to date. Though they had played a few shows there before, Zau did their first ever extensive European headlining tour with this lineup. Sean told the band he would be leaving just before the Praise the War Machine US headlining tour, but he did complete the tour. The sold-out show at Glass House in Pomona, California was filmed for the band's In the Works DVD. Longtime friend and tour manager Marty Lund took over the bass position before Zau co-headlined the City of Champions tour with the Juliana Theory. The following year, Stephen Peck told the band he was quitting 2 weeks before they were set to leave for the UK to tour with Bleeding Through. Scrambling to find a replacement, the group hired local drummer Jeff Gretz, the first outwardly and outspokenly non-Christian member in the history of the band. The UK tour was followed by the Stress tour across the US in the summer of 2005 with Bleeding Through, Darkest Hour and Misery Signals. The Los Angeles and San Diego shows were recorded for the upcoming DVD. In 2005, the band released their DVD, The Lesser Lights of Heaven, mapping their history up till that point, having members from different bands, including Don and Ryan Clark, Demon Hunter, Training for Utopia, Bruce Fitzhugh, Living Sacrifice, Chris McLean, Stretch Armstrong, Jimmy Ryan, Haste the Day, Trenches, and C.J. Anderson, Sinai Beach. In January 2006, Weyandt, Mellinger, Lund and Gretz traveled to Chicago to record their next album with one of their collective heroes, Steve Albini. The making of The Fear Is What Keeps Us Here was documented for a limited edition DVD. Directly after recording, Zau hit the road with In Flames, Tritium, and Devil Driver. After that, they co-headlined their second Ferret Music tour. However, they were forced to head home early after Dan severely injured his hand. The Fear was released in June while Zau was on tour with Demon Hunter. The band filmed a video for My Love, We've Come Back from the Dead, a self-described zombie love story, during that tour. The fall of 2006 saw Zau touring with Throwdown, Evergreen Terrace, and Maylene and the Sons of Disaster. During the tour, Mellinger and Weyandt both agreed that Zau should embark on a long break after the tour. Eager to continue touring, Gretz left Zau not long after and became the drummer for From Autumn to Ashes. On January 23, 2007, Zau announced in a lengthy statement that Russ Cogdell had rejoined the band after recovering from his knee surgery. Zau stated that they would not fill the drum position. Josh Walters, former drummer for Juliana Theory, would fill in if when the band next appeared live. The band said they had completed their 2-album deal with Ferret Music but did not say who would be releasing their next album. There was no news on whether they intended to re-sign to Ferret or seek a new label. Not long after the statement was released, The band said that Walters would in fact not be performing with them. In mid-2008, Zao played their first show since 2006 with Demon Hunter at Mr. Small's in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The lineup for the show was Weyandt, Mellinger, Lunn, and Gretz. Following this, they began recording their new album, Awake, with Scott Mellinger, Daniel Castleman, and as I Lay Dying singer Tim Lamsis co-producing. The band finished vocal recording in November 2008 with engineer Dave Heideck at Tree Lady Studios, located in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The band released the album on May 5, 2009, on Ferret Records. The band took to the web updating the world on the status of the band. As it stands, ZAO is Daniel Weyandt, Scott Mellinger, Russ Cogdell, Marty Lunn, and Jeff Gretz. Among other things in the recent update, the band said they were extremely surprised on how well their last album, Awake, did in the market considering it had no tour support by them and that it was thrown onto Ferret's label in the 11th hour. Zao said the best thing to come out of it is that they learned a lot of the last release and it showed them that fans still enjoy their music and this inspired and motivated them to continue making music. According to social media reports, on July 11, 2014, Zao went into the studio, after a 5-year unofficial hiatus and working on side projects like Lonely Ghost Parade and Young Fox, is currently tracking and recording their 11th album. Guitar tracking began in January 2015. Xenophobe, the band's first EP since 1998, was released on July 10, 2015. On October 13, 2016, the band released Observed/Observer, the second song that would be on the Well-Intentioned Virus, the first being Xenophobe. The band premiered the next song, A Well-Intentioned Virus, on October 27, 2016. On December 1, 2016, the band released the album Stream for the Well-Intentioned Virus. The band announced an EP, Pyrrhic Victory, which was released on November 3, 2017. In the first half of 2018, Zao announced that their 2004 album The Funeral of God would be released on vinyl by Tragic Arrow Records, but this release got caught up in legal issues and has yet to be released. On September 21, 2018, the band released a split with Yashira, which included the songs Hide from the Light, Zao, and Led to Ache, Yashira. They followed the split up with a 7 EP entitled Decoding Transmissions from the Mobius Strip on February 8, 2019, which included the tracks Transmission 1, I Saw the End, and Transmission 2, I Saw the Devil. The same announcement by the band hinted at a new album in the works. Starting in August 2019, the band is embarking on a Midwest tour of the United States with Hollow Earth and Wolf King. On November 15, 2019, the band released Reformat/Reboot, a remix album featuring 8 remixed tracks from the Well-Intentioned Virus. It was released on numerous formats including a Nintendo Entertainment System game cartridge. Christianity has been a key influence in the band's early work, because the founding members claimed to have a strong relationship with God. They were considered a devoted Christian band, with second vocalist Sean Jonas often preaching Christianity between songs, which changed as time passed and members changed. Former drummer Jesse Smith slowly changed the band's vision, with citing wanting to be able to play to more secular music scenes and providing less emphasis on religion because he felt the original lineup would force it down people's throats. Upon vocalist Daniel Weyandt joining the band, the lyrics shifted to more personal content, albeit initially still retaining an occasional Christian message, which became less prevalent with every album. Because only bassist Martin Lunn identifies as Christian, Zao no longer considered itself a Christian band but rather a group of open-minded artists, with guitarist Scott Mellinger going on record and stating that Zao would prefer to just be known as a metal band. Lyrics in future productions may or may not include Christian messages, but Zao has stated they would have loved to return to the Christian Cornerstone Festival when it was still active. As of 2015, only one member of the band, bassist Martin Lunn, claims Christianity as their beliefs. Although it was previously stated that he was not a Christian upon his joining, Jeff Gretz stated that he was raised Catholic and that he never said he never believed. Current members. Past members. Live musicians. Timeline. All Else Failed, 1995. The Splinter Shards, The Birth of Separation, 1997. Where Blood and Fire Bring Rest, 1998. Liberate Ex Inferis, 1999. Self-Titled, 2001. Parade of Chaos, 2002. All Else Failed, 2003. The Funeral of God, 2004. The fear is what keeps us here. 2006. Awake. 2009. The well-intentioned virus. 2016.